I know that many people are preparing for their data analyst interview. So what I thought is let's create a video where I would share my insights related to what exactly happens in the data analyst interview. Hi guys, my name is Rohit, and in today's video, I would share with you the skill sets which are evaluated during the data analyst interview. Let's get started. So if you see the job role of a data analyst, it is much different than, let's say, the job role of a software engineer. In software engineering role, you have to spend a lot of time in writing the code. Whereas in the data analyst role, you have to spend a lot of time in analyzing the data and sharing those insights, presenting those insights to the stakeholders. So that's why for the data analyst role, the non-technical skills are also very, very important. So during the interview, you would be evaluated on your technical skills as well as the non-technical skills. So as a data analyst, you have to spend a lot of time speaking with the data engineering team to get the data, speaking with the stakeholders to discuss about the problem statement, to discuss about various processes, and then you have to present your insights as well. So you would be definitely evaluated on your communication skill. You would be evaluated on your domain knowledge, because let's say that if you're someone who is already working in the financial industry for last 5 years, and now you're applying for a data analyst role in financial industry. So there you would definitely have an advantage, because a data analyst who understands the domain, who understands the data really well, can definitely create good insights from that data. So the business knowledge or domain knowledge is also important. And the third one is the stakeholder management. So in the non-technical side, you would be evaluated on communication skill, business or domain knowledge, and the stakeholder management. Because in the data analyst project, there are so many stakeholders involved. So it is very important to have stakeholder management skills in terms of managing the stakeholders, sharing the right insights, right kind of updates with the stakeholders, managing the deadlines. So those skills would be definitely evaluated. And that's why you would see that people who have any kind of working experience in the past, they get an advantage in the data analyst interview. Now this is on the non-technical side. Talking on the technical side now, data analyst is such a role that there is a lot of variation from one role to another role. It's not very well defined role. So in some roles, you might need just advanced Excel as a data analyst. In some roles, you might need, let's say, Power BI and SQL. In some roles, you might need basics of Python programming and statistics. So there is a lot of variation in data analyst role itself. So based on the role for which you are applying, based on the JD, different skill set will be evaluated. So for example, if the role requires you to have advanced Excel knowledge, obviously you would get a lot of questions related to advanced Excel, how to create visualizations in that, how to connect Excel with various data sources, how to write Excel macros, all those questions would come. Then in Tableau and Power BI, people would definitely ask you how you would visualize different kind of problems using the visualizations option in Tableau and Power BI. So you might get some open-ended problem statements as well. So for example, you want to create a dashboard for showing the sales report of the organization over last 12 months. So how you would approach this problem? Which kind of visualizations you would show? What kind of filters you would give? Because that would help interviewer to understand how you are thinking. Are you having a right kind of mindset to create insights from the data? Then you would get some open-ended problem statements related to case study as well. So let's say that there is a problem with the sales of the organization in particular country, let's say Japan, and the sales is really good all across the world. So as a data analyst, you have been given the data, how you would analyze that data and come up with your insights. So the lot of case study questions would also come in the data analyst interview. So you should be prepared for that as well. Then one skill which I think is very important for the data analyst is SQL programming. Because most of you would be fetching data from large databases. So there are different kind of programming languages which you can use for that. But SQL, I think, is still needed in most of the data analyst role. So people would ask you to write small SQL queries during the interview itself. And to crack that kind of a thing, you should be practicing a lot. So make sure that you're well practiced for the SQL rounds, because that would help you to write those SQL queries. Because SQL is very easy programming language, guys. It is more like a plain English. Once you learn it, you would feel like it's like a English. It's not like, let's say, as complicated as C, C++ or something like that. So if you're well practiced, you can easily crack SQL interview as well. Then there are some roles in data analytics where you have to use basics of Python or R, and then you need to know the statistics as well. So in those rounds, people would ask you the statistical questions, the definitions of mean, median, standard deviation, what is the difference between mean and median, then how exactly you would use the statistical tests to analyze the data. Then people would also ask you to write small programs in Python or R during the interview. But this is needed only if that data analyst role requires that skill set. So what I would tell you is you can strategize based on where you are good and where you are still lacking in the skills. So let's say if you are someone who is coming from a non-programming background, you don't have to worry about Python and R. See, at the end, you need just one role for in a data analyst industry, right? You don't need 10 jobs at a time. So what you can do is you can prepare really well on SQL. You can prepare really well on advanced Excel and Power BI or Tableau. Even in Power BI and Tableau, you can choose just one and get in depth of it. It's not needed to know both, because in most of the roles, you would just need one of them. So even if you target, let's say, the roles related to Power BI, that is good enough chunk for you to get just one job in the market. So that is what I would recommend you. You strategize where you have an advantage and where you want to build your skill. And just on those 2-3 skills within the data analyst, just focus on those skills and get in depth of that. And this is how you would increase your chances of cracking the interview. Okay. You don't have to run behind Python and R for every data analyst role, because maybe there are just 10 to 20% data analyst role where you require that kind of programming knowledge. So make sure that you're preparing in a strategic way. And these are the skill sets basically in the technical and non-technical side, which are evaluated during the data analyst interview. Thanks for watching the video, and I'm seeing the next one. Bye bye.